Alright, today we are talking about some of the reasons why people are moving to the Tampa Bay area. I get calls every single day, and these are the most common reasons why people are moving here. Stick around. I'm Sam, welcome to the Living in Tampa, Florida channel, where every single week we release videos about what it's like to live, work, play, and move to the Tampa, Florida area. If that's something you want to follow along with, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell so you get notifications right in your inbox for every new video that comes out. Also, I am a licensed realtor in the state of Florida, so if you have any real estate specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My number and email are right there on the screen and down in the description. Also down in the description, there is a link to my calendar where you can just set up a meeting. We can do a Zoom call and kind of talk through your specific situation and see how I can help. Today I'm set up at Wall Springs Park. Got my daughter here with me. She's here to help me. She's excited to shoot a video and she's excited to pop her little head up and see if she can get on the screen. But I don't really want to put her on YouTube yet. The time will come, I'm sure. But now's not the time. So we're gonna be kind of running around the park and I'm gonna give you some of this info as we go. All right, the number one reason why people want to move to Florida and to the Tampa Bay area is because they want to be outside. You know, this pandemic has showed us a lot of things. And one of the big things it has shown us is that having the ability to be outside right around your house because of the weather, because of things to do, is really, really nice. I was talking yesterday to a family from Minnesota, and that's the main reason they want to move here. You know, they have 6 months of their year where it's just so cold outside, it's hard to do something, especially with little kids. So they're excited to move here. They're excited to have that pool, that, you know, possible outdoor kitchen area. And that's a big reason why a lot of people are moving here. When I refer to like the common, most people want the 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a pool, that is because of these kind of calls that I get every single day. That is what a lot of people want based on my experience. Of course, in Florida and especially in the Tampa Bay area, there is a lot of ways to get outside. And I actually find that people really engage in that when they first move here. That's a really encouraging thing. I'm excited to see the culture moving more toward that. I moved here from Colorado a little over a year ago, and Colorado is very, very active. It's very, very healthy. It kind of has this certain culture around that, and I really like that. I hope that Tampa continues to grow that way, and I see that it kind of has in some areas, and especially in some small towns. And new people coming here that want to be outside, that want to be active, that's going to help that continue to grow that way. And that is a big reason why we moved to Florida. Of course, we do have family down here, and since when we had a kid, we always imagined we'd be moving down here eventually. But once we kind of decided to make that jump, a big aspect of it was we can be outside so much more of the year. And that has proven to be true for us. Even yesterday, just went to a park at the end of the day that was kind of by a beach, but we just ran around in a field and climbed on the jungle gym and stuff like that. And having that accessibility and not having to bundle up to do that at this time of the year is really, really nice. And of course, not in the whole country are people having to bundle up this time of the year, but there's not many places in the country where people get to wear shorts this time of year either.
Where do I stand up?
You ready to stand up?
Yeah.
Okay, let's stand up and walk. Another one of the big reasons that people are moving to this area is kind of political. Not necessarily like Republican or Democrat, but in the midst of this pandemic, the Florida government has been pretty lenient, or, you know, certain people are going to say they've been careless. Some people are going to say they've been protective of people's liberties. You know, it kind of just depends on how you think of that. But actually, a lot of people are moving to the area because of how the government has responded to the pandemic. And, you know, Governor DeSantis is kind of outspoken in those kind of ways. And maybe you like DeSantis or not, that's not really what this conversation is about. Here, let's go this way, baby.
Why did you say, why were you thinking we could go this way?
I thought we could go this way because there's some water over here. It's kind of nice to look at. So a lot of people here do like DeSantis.
Then we can go to the bridge.
Yeah, we can go to the bridge over here.
Oh.
Another thing that I wanted to point out about Florida, you know, there's this kind of like common meme, Florida man, that got popularized not that long ago. And, you know, it's not entirely inaccurate that there's crazy people in Florida, but there's kind of crazy people everywhere, right? Where I grew up in Oklahoma, there's a lot of Florida man type people in Oklahoma. You want to still walk? Give me just 1 minute, okay? But one reason the Florida man thing is so popular is because of a Twitter account that was started years ago. And the stories are hilarious. I mean, they genuinely are. And when it's headlines like Florida man tries to have sex with a dolphin, he insists that the dolphin was seducing him, like those kind of things are catchy. Of course, they're gonna get clicks. And that's kind of what's going on there. So in Florida, there's a law. It's called Government in the Sunshine Act. This law pretty much just makes every government record public. Everything from city council meetings to arrest records. So in Florida, and this act was from 1909. This is a very, very old law that it was really just created to make freedom of the press a big, big thing in Florida and a real freedom. So a journalist can call the Clearwater Police Department and say, hey, I heard somebody got arrested in the mall yesterday. Can you send the report? And they're just gonna send the report right over. There's no question about how it's gonna be used. There's no question about that. So then those reporters, you know, some reporters are going to be incentivized to choose the catchiest story that's going to get the most clicks. Keep that in mind. Like, of course, they're just trying to get clicks at times as well. Here at this park, there is all kinds of like water features. There's an actual spring that's like super deep, a real natural spring. And then there's this big tower that kind of looks out. It looks out like over the Gulf, and it's really cool. We'll kind of make our way there, kind of show you this park as we go and talk about these topics. Going back to the Florida man thing, like sometimes you just have to realize like how big an area is, how diverse it is. Like 20+ million people, very rich and poor, very left and right politically. Like all those factors are going to bring about some craziness when you just kind of have the whole spectrum of people in a place. I mean, think of New York as the same way. Like there's no New York man, and that's really because of that law, why that is the case. Another big factor why people are moving to Florida is because it's growing, and especially cities like Tampa, you know, Miami, everybody knows is like huge. Cities like Tampa and Jacksonville are continuing to grow and have a lot of potential, have a lot of room to grow. And people like to live somewhere that is growing and that is kind of on the upward movement. You know, these cities like Austin and Nashville and Denver and Tampa and these kind of cities are very attractive to people right now. Tampa is growing really fast, even after just being here a year. I mean, in the midst of a pandemic, it's a little confusing, but Tampa's getting pretty cool. Having major sports teams that are very successful helps kind of draw some attention to the area. But food and coffee and beer and cigars and those kind of things are very popular in the area. And some people give Tampa the credit for creating the Cuban sandwich. And in this area, it also has salami on it, which is kind of an influence of the Italians in the area. But it's really interesting. And there's, you know, kind of a big Cuban part of town called Ybor City, which has all kinds of like cigar rolling and breweries and restaurants and coffee, and it's a very kind of vibrant, fun area to go visit. Or if you're young and you're looking for that kind of nightlife style, Ybor City is kind of the place to go. All right, so housing, I kind of tie housing and jobs together, and you know, this kind of makes the Tampa area interesting to me. If you can find a good job, then the homes are not super expensive, and sometimes renting can be even more expensive in this area than buying. And St. Petersburg specifically over the past 5 years has had like 60% rent growth, and over the past 1 year, 12% rent growth. So that's kind of crazy. And when it comes to buying, this is kind of a factor that draws people here as well, because you can get quite a bit of bang for your buck. But keep in mind where people are moving from. A lot of clients that I work with are moving from the New York and New Jersey area. And so a big limiting factor in that area is property taxes. So if property taxes are quite a bit lower here, which they are, they're about 1% of the property value, then that kind of gives you a little more that you can spend each month. And you do get quite a bit of house for your money in this area. You know, not quite as much as like Texas or some of the Midwest, but you do get quite a bit of house for your money, bang for your buck. And there's quite a bit of options of where you find that around the Tampa area.
Come, Daddy.
Okay, I'm coming. I often have this battle of, you know, people want to move and live close to the beach, and then I'm thinking they want to be like walking distance to the beach, but people don't often want to be that close to the beach. You know, I think if people are an hour away, then they often feel okay with that, and it's really, really easy to be an hour away from nice beaches here. And I mean, I'm keeping in mind that you're probably days away from the beaches right now, or, you know, days of driving. Can fly quite a bit faster. But being an hour away isn't so bad now. All right, we made it to the tower here. There's a few of these at like these coastal parks. If you can see, the water is like right over there. That's the Gulf. So we are gonna head up to the top.
We're going all the way up to the top.
Unemployment is another big factor. I mean, since we're speaking of employment and kind of renting versus buying, that kind of stuff, unemployment in the Tampa Bay area has stayed really low compared to other areas. Currently in 2021, beginning of 2021, unemployment in the Tampa area is right around 4.6%, which is very healthy unemployment. And in the Miami area, it's around 8.1%, quite a bit more. You can see kind of how these specific areas are a little different. And of course, unemployment is not the only reason that Miami and Tampa are different from each other. Miami is quite a bit bigger. It's quite a bit more popular as a destination. It has a different kind of coastline. It has different kinds of beaches. And it's also very, very expensive compared to the Tampa area.
One more thing I want to say.
There's one more thing you want to say to the camera? Okay, let me say my thing and then you can say yours. Florida is also a big state with a lot to do. There's a lot to do outside. There's, you know, amusement parks obviously, but there's a lot of more natural things to do as well, like the beach, like parks like this, and they're very accessible and kind of everywhere. Florida is geographically big along with being very populous, and a lot of the people here, the natives, they really do like to preserve this kind of land. And there's, you know, all kinds of sports teams here. I think 4 professional teams. And then there's also all kinds of fishing, boating activities, things like that. There is a lot to do in Florida, and I'm gonna go do some of it now. I told my daughter to count to 10 and then we would run down this thing. So here we go. Are you gonna count? I heard you got to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go. I know this information is a little scattered, and hopefully as I edit it, it will come together into some concise points, but I just kind of want to hit on some of the reasons why people are moving here. And if you're moving for the same reasons, then you're going to fit right in. And that's really the point I want to make. That if you are moving here for one of these reasons, you have new people, new friends that are moving for the same reason. You're going to connect really easily around that kind of thing. I hope you found this information useful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, especially real estate specific questions if you are wanting to look for a home in the area or plan your move to the area. And if you don't want to miss any videos, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified when our next video comes out. Thanks for coming by.